So I've recently started teaching a comic course at a school, and I'm looking through some of the comic exercises done by my students. I'm noticing some common issues, particularly when it comes to drawing certain scenes from certain angles and also conveying certain sequences. So in this video, I'm going to show how I would fix these comic panels in terms of how to make the scenes clearer and flow smoother. So these are just really rough, quick comic exercises. So they're not meant to be polished, and they were just drawn within a limited time. Looking at this first frame, there's one oddity, which is suddenly the character dips into the bottom frames, which would be read later. So it's kind of a bit odd there. So I would avoid having this dip here. Now, how would I make this scene clearer? Now this angle seems to be a higher up angle, which is not wrong in itself. However, it's a bit hard to read what is happening here. It's supposed to be a girl buying ice cream from a store, and this is supposed to be an establishing shot. So to make it clearer, I might try to do it this way. So as you can see, as a camera view, I pulled back so I can see the head to the feet, and I can see more details around. This was supposed to be a playground, so therefore, as a scene is more pulled back, I can see more of what's happening around, so it's easier to tell it's a playground. I could actually add more playground elements and what people are doing in the playground. And it's easier to tell the actions of this transaction of buying ice cream just by using a left and right motion. It's a bit easier to see than an overhead shot and a nearer and far angle. So in this one, the guy says something offensive. A girl approaches the guy. She grabs his shirt, and then he says, "You heard nothing?" And she says, "Say it again." This scene and this scene seems pretty clear, but when it comes to this scene, it is a bit awkward. Since we're looking at both of these people from this angle, I find that there's no need to change it when we go to a closer shot. So I could do it like this. In this one, the tail of the speech bubble isn't really pointing at his mouth, so it's easy to think that she's speaking. So when we do it, let's point the tail to him. I'm pausing because it is a bit of an awkward thing to say. I think that if you said something wrong, you wouldn't say, "You heard nothing." You might say, and then she would say something like this. Let's see how it reads. He says something nasty. She goes to him, pulls his collar. "I didn't mean it." Say it again. Pulls him closer. Same positions. Here we have a couple having dinner, and then things happen. The girl stands up and runs away. I find that this frame is a little awkward because of the angle. So how would I improve this sequence? She stands up from the table. To do perspective, just take note of the point there and just point all the angles to the point. If she ran off this way, we would only see the back of his head. So perhaps I'll get her to run on this side of the table. And I would also get him to stand up a bit, because I think if she gets up to run away, he might also get up. And it's important to show the legs, because from the legs we can tell distances between the two characters. Could have made his hand extend, but I think this looks natural enough. If I had to draw this scene where he was stretching his arm out to a girl who had run away, I might do it like this. There would be a perspective point here. Everything would converge to that point. So in order to do an angle like this, it's not just an angle going up, it's actually an angle going towards a perspective point, where everything parallel goes to the point. So in a way, all these three work together. She stands up, She says, wait, and then he says, stop or something, but he's reaching out his hand here. In this one, the artist knows how to draw characters in more detail, which is nicely done. A common problem when a story starts is that there isn't a wide shot, which serves as an establishing shot. Everything is a mid shot, kind of a mid shot. Well, there's kind of an establishing shot here, but it's not wide enough to tell me what this place is. And then the girl goes upstairs, and there we have this strange upward angle again. And when there's an upward angle, oftentimes the artist might draw the head a bit lower, which is a bit awkward too. So there's this awkward angle here, which I'll try to fix. So let me try to do this sequence where the girl comes home, she says hi to her mom, and she goes to her room, and she notices that her room door is closed. Let's just do that. It is okay to start with a mid shot. Actually, if she's coming home and she's taking off her shoes, we should see her shoes, and we cannot just assume that the reader will know. Let's pull back a bit. So here we see the shoe. This is the start of a comic. It's good to have an establishing shot where we can see more of the house. There is a bit of time between when she's in the living room and when she is in the doorway. So this is a transition frame. When we move to a totally new environment, I think it's good to pull back and show more of the scene. We may not need a complex angle. We can just show a side angle. So although this is a simpler angle, it is clearer than the angled scene. But supposing if I really wanted an angled shot, if the perspective point was here, the wall would be covering here. She's walking here. All right, try not to cover the door, since the door seems to be an important object. So the girl comes home, she takes off her shoes. We can crop off this leg because it's not so important. We do a wide establishing shot. She walks up the stairs and she walks down the corridor. And here's a more simplified angle. You don't have to do a complex angle like this if you feel that your drawing standard isn't so high yet. Aim for clarity.